I'm back. As you can see, it's great weather today. It's very, very windy. Haven't recorded for a while because it's been super windy, like super windy all week. And we've got two fellas on holiday, so it's just been me and the other fella. So it's been pretty busy. So I haven't been able to film much at all. Got a bit of rain at the top farm finally, but so far it's only been 12 mils out the front and 9 mils out the back. So not enough yet. Another problem is I've come up here to feed out some grain and we've got no power and the generators at the other farm, so I can't feed them grain, but luckily we've got some square bales of clover up here from when we were trying that when they started lambing, so they'll get a bit to get them through. Back in the safety of the ute. Yeah, I've never known it to be so windy. It's just insane. We can't build the shed in the wind. It's just too full on, and cutting the chaff's been insane. And we're 2 men down, so we sort of had enough up our sleeve to get us through, but everything's just getting feral, and it's not like we've been getting heaps of rain or anything. It's sort of just, you get a drizzle, it blows straight over, and then it dries out in 2 hours because it gets blown away. So I don't know about how much effective rainfall we'd be getting, but it's not enough, put it that way. So there's a few paddocks shut up that are starting to do something, but you know, can't get enough growth where we are during lambing time up here, so we'll see how we go and just keep managing it. So got the other fella, he's fully stuck in the weather at the moment, so I've got to go back down to the bottom farm anyway to do a little bit of work. I've met him halfway here, picked him up on the way sort of thing. So we might have to knock off a bit early because we've got no power here. So I can't feed the grain. So that's a bugger, but we'll just feed out these squares to get them through, and then we'll have 3 people next week, so we should be able to manage it a bit better. Things always start to go wrong when you really need them not to, but that's just life, isn't it? So at least I've got the heaters in this ute, so that's made me feel a little bit better about it. I'll have a think of a little bit of a topic to talk about at the minute, but I will quickly run through this gate and we can have a look at the sheep, and I'll feed some of these squares out. A lot about this isn't ideal. Sit! Say a swear word, now would be the time, but I'll persevere. You can have a bunching. And then hopefully they tuck up out of the wind. Made it easy to throw them all out anyway. Oh, sweet solace of the ute. Well, it was proper wet 10 minutes ago. Now I'm bone dry, so it must be pretty windy. Just got to make sure I have a look at all these ewes. In case one has a lamb stuck or something. That'll look pretty good. Now, let me just sort this and then I'll see about what I wanted to talk about. I'm back. Got no gates for a little bit, so I thought now would be the time to talk. What we're doing here is not ideal at the minute. We've done everything right in terms of giving us the best chance to not need to feed out as much and try and manage the feed a bit better up here, because we knew it was going to be harder with one less person on farm. So we lost a fella. He was up here a fair bit, so we reduced the number by a fair bit of ewes that we've got, and we moved our joining date back, hoping for the lambing time to be when there's patch of good weather and get some growth. But we haven't got that, and we've had not much rain, and then it's just stayed cold, and then the wind has dried everything out. So it's just been devastating, really, in terms of we did everything right, and we still didn't get ahead. It would have been nasty if we didn't do all those things. So we might just hang in there, but it's really going to be dependent on the next couple of weeks, like what's going to happen, and if it's going to be good enough, and things we can do. Like, we're going to have to destock a fair bit, so we might have a bit of a loss there, but we're changing the way we run up here anyway to have less merinos. We haven't really decided yet, but something's going to need to happen, and it's going to need to happen pretty quick, or we'll be in a spot of trouble. If you focus too much on just productivity and just your turnover, what's going to make money, what your numbers need to be to make enough gross revenue, then you might leave yourself a bit vulnerable if you don't have a really robust, resilient setup for a time like this. Like, it doesn't make a lot of economical sense to plan to be productive in a drought or anything like that. You have to make decisions based on the average and work from there. But we've been feeding out in average years as well, so yes, it makes more money because you've got more stock on the land, but we're going to try and come at it from a feed management and have a rolling DSC per 100 mil rainfall for the year, project our growth a bit better, and destock when we need to, and we'll have some data to make better decisions about that, so that we can stockpile a bit of feed for now, basically, and then it's going to be pretty easy to, if we needed to get rid of some feed, it's pretty easy to get some stock, or we'll keep some lambs up here instead of sending them down to the bottom farm, which has all the irrigation and crops. So we're never going to run out of options that way. But this new setup hopefully will have more flexibility, and be able to save a bit of money in all these feed costs. So if we can get that number down to where we don't have to do supplementary feeding, then we save all those costs, and there's a lot of costs, and it adds up pretty quick. So I doubt they'll pay it off if it's like that every year. They probably soak it up in a bad year. But if the baseline's ticking away, then we'll be able to rebuild our fertility back up again and just keep tweaking the numbers so that we maintain our healthy soil with productive pastures that will be able to hold on a bit better in drought, and will be able to hold on a bit better in the cold. So we'll be able to be thinking about litter management and things like that to extend the growing season, and next thing you know, we'll be touching back up to those numbers again, and instead of spending all our money on feed costs, we'll be able to efficiently apply nutrition. And we've got our soil test back now, and we've had a big meeting about what the go is, and there's actually not heaps of limitations in the soil. It's mainly phosphorus. So we'll and there's a lot of phosphorus in the totals as well, so we'll be able to tap into that over time, but it'll just be building that level back up, and hoping that with good management we can keep everything ticking away and converting, so we can access that phosphorus that's already there. Yeah, it's pretty exciting, and we'll see how we go, and if we can fix some of these problems that's bogging up nutrition from the management side of things rather than the application side of things for now. And then even if we do need to make some applications, we at least know we're going to be efficient in using what we apply rather than just losing it. So it's a no-brainer really, and if we have to destock a bit to get there, then that's life. Fortunately, the reality is if we were going to be a bit more intensive up here, it's going to be another labour unit for the year. So what are we going to do with them when it, for the rest of the year? I'm sure we could find jobs, but then it's a question of what's the best for the farm. So yeah, anyway, I'll keep moving. I'm not sure if I'm going to run out of diesel or not. With the power out, the petrol station didn't have any power either, so hopefully I don't get stuck and we end up walking down a very long way to get to where the power is again. So hopefully it's back on. I wouldn't have a clue at the minute. So anyway, I've got one last thing to say, and I'll do it in a second once I open this gate. So there was a fella that worked on this farm. He managed all the sheep up here in the top farm, and he loved this place. His older brother worked here for a long time, and he sort of grew up here a bit, did lots of work, and 10 years or so plus he was about from when he was a young fella, and now he's got another job. He still sort of works with us a bit, so it's not like he's a total stranger and he comes up here for a shot or whatever. So he loved this place, and he also taught me heaps and heaps, just the the stuff you need to know, and just mindset things. And he's a really good stockman, and a bit like a few of us, he's a bit on the pushy side sometimes, but pushy is probably the wrong word. But we had a saying about You know, when times are getting a bit hard on the farm with whatever we're doing, we're getting rained on, we're getting a bit like today, windy, getting blown about, or there's just something time sensitive that's got to happen, and someone's being a bit slow, me usually. He used to say, "Do something, Jay. Do something." As in, hurry up a bit. And we always, you know, get a bit of banter going back and forth. You say it back to them and rah rah. Two of you becomes a bit of a joke, but I don't really get the do somethings anymore. So it's a bit of a reminder to me. They're a bit of a reminder to you, all involved. I think I might sign off with a bit of a do something every time we finish one of these videos. And if anybody is being lazy watching YouTube videos and has things to do, then I'll make sure I keep these YouTube videos either short enough that you can still go and do something with your day instead of binge watching them or whatever, or when you're a bit like me and you're by yourself, you can flick them on and have a listen and do something while you listen. I'm a bit of a audio book head in the chaff shed or doing tractor work or whatever. I know a lot of older people say that it's no good doing that because you can't focus on what you're doing, but we can. It's pretty simple. We definitely can. We just grew up with phones and things, you know, and you meet some people that can't, you know, their brains fried or whatever, but a lot of people can, and it's more about finding somebody that's not negligent with how they are thinking on the job. And yeah, I wouldn't know half of what I know if I hadn't done all that, and it's been quite useful for the farm. So I sort of see it as an asset for all involved. And if I have a farm, I'm not going to discourage anyone from doing those sorts of things if they're going to contribute and be creative with what they learn. So yeah, on that note, this video is probably going for far too long. Do something.